Hello everyone, and welcome back to the RS1, RSS really, GT1 series by SimRacingOnline. Sorry, I messed it up a bit. I'll try that again. Hello and welcome to the RSS GT1 series from SimRacingOnline. This is round 3 of the championship. We are at Watkins for round 3 out of 5, and it's going to be an interesting race today, seeing as we have two drivers currently tied for points at the top of the championship standings, those being Davide Ricciardi and Pablo Finotti. So the championship race is absolutely on here, with I should point out a couple of drivers not too far behind either. John van der Geest only 10 points off, and remember, 10 points is only the difference between first and fourth, so really things can change very, very quickly here. We've got several fantastic sounding, fantastic looking, fantastic racing cars here today. The GT1s, classic GT1s from around the year 2003. We have still the Ferrari, we have the Lamborghini, we have the Lister, and we have the Chrysler, and also a Celine. I forgot the Celine there. But we're in qualifying at the minute. Currently we have our joint championship leader, Davide Ricciardi, at the top of the times with a 1:44.101, so that's going to be the benchmark in this session so far. And look at that, second time at the minute, Pablo Finotti. So the two championship leaders, first and second in this session at the minute. But Ricciardi is already trying to improve his best lap by going purple in sector 1, purple meaning fastest of anyone. So Davide Ricciardi already putting in another quick sector, but Pablo Finotti immediately goes quicker. So Finotti and Ricciardi already dueling over the top time, and currently Finotti is on course for a quicker one, but he's in traffic a bit. He's got a Chrysler there attempting to just get out. Actually, he's not attempting to get out of his way at all, is he? I can guarantee that's going to be a driver on another hot lap, although he does get out of the way now. Ricciardi sets the fastest second sector time of anyone with this lap, so definitely still one to look out for both of these drivers. Ricciardi in the Lamborghini, Finotti in the Celine, and Ricciardi is just coming through the final sector now. This is turn 10. Turn 11 is the following right-hander. Incidentally, Finotti just lost 0.4 of a second to him in the second sector, so this is swinging the way of Davide Ricciardi so far. Ricciardi finishes the lap, and it's not quite an improvement. He's less than 1/10 of a second off his best, but it's not quite an improvement. Finotti looks sure to improve on his best, but he is quite a way back from Ricciardi still, especially including on this lap rather. However, he did get held up by traffic a bit in the opening part of the lap, so he knows that, and he pits the car at the end of that lap, and he will probably go for another run later on in the session and attempt to find some clean track room. Laurent Lons just sets another lap and goes slightly quicker than his best, but can't quite jump up to 4th position. He's currently still in 5th in that Lister, the very aerodynamic looking Lister. John van der Geest goes up to 3rd now. So van der Geest 3rd in the championship, 3rd in the times. The top 3 on the timesheet are the top 3 in the championship. Remember that 4th in the championship, of course, is Yusuf Masset, who is currently 5th in this session, behind Phil Brown, who is in 4th place. Phil Brown, I don't believe, has featured in this championship just yet. In fact, no, he hasn't. So welcome to Phil Brown today, and he puts his time 4th position at the minute, but still time to improve in this session. Over 8 minutes to go. Couple of new faces on the grid today. I've noticed Can You Sell as well. That's a name, not a question. A Turkish driver. He's turned up in that's a Chrysler Viper there. So Can You Sell is joining us today. Also looking through for other new drivers. I don't know if Flavio Bosga has joined us for any of these other rounds yet this season. Oh, he did actually. He joined us for round 1. Flavio Bosga, who is a regular for Flying Crowbar Racing, races for us a lot with R Factor 2 events, and is now joining us for Assetto Corsa as well. And he is yet to set a lap so far in this session. Apart from that, everyone on this grid is
Oh, I see here. We might need a restart for the stream.
Fresh in memory as well, we have two drivers tying on points for the lead of the championship, Davide Ricciardi and Pablo Finotti, two Italian drivers tying for the lead of the championship. We're going to have a race to decide the leader today as the lights are about to go out and go. We're underway. The race has begun, and away at the front gets Davide Ricciardi. He gets away from Phil Brown, who's already getting swamped. Through to second goes Pablo Finotti. So our two championship leaders are now first and second. And a good start from both of them. Jeroen Remmers appears to be starting from the pits here, and Johnny Gutierrez, I'm afraid, couldn't start at all. Is everyone through the opening sector cleanly? It looks to be that way, which is good to see. So everyone up through the S's, and I don't believe we have any mass pile-ups, IMSA style there. Daryl Kruger appears to have been delayed a little bit, and Jeroen Remmers, of course, started from the pits. But apart from that, we're all through cleanly, and it's Davide Ricciardi leading from Pablo Finotti. So Finotti jumped from 4th to 2nd on the opening lap there. And now, as we go through the boot on this opening lap, it seems that unfortunately Johnny Gutierrez didn't start this race either, so there were problems at the start there for Johnny Gutierrez, who says anyone there in the chat, so maybe connection issues there preventing him from starting this race. We'll update you on the full order at the end of this this lap. It appears that Van der Geest has got past Brown and is now on the back of Pablo Finotti. So John Van der Geest challenging for second as we head through the heel. Can't quite get close enough that time around. He certainly had a challenge though. Now we're up through turn 9, heading towards the end of the very first lap of the race. It seems to have been a clean one, although I don't want to speak too soon with that. Final corner now, and it's going to be Davide Ricciardi who triggers the timing beam at the end of the lap. What can Van der Geest do about Finotti here? He's in the slipstream as they head down the straight. It's Ricciardi, Finotti, Van der Geest, Brown, then Lons, Massett, Pickler, Carvalho and Williams. Van der Geest very close to the back of Finotti, can't quite challenge there. After Williams it's Can Yücel, that's a name, not a question. Flavio Bosca, Nathan Lockie, Daryl Kruger, and then it's Rodriguez, Klein, Ashenko, Milliken and Remmers, and Roger Hines, I'm afraid, is out of this race. So Roger Hines also out of the race, as up through the S's the cars head. Van der Geest still challenging Pablo Finotti on this opening lap, second lap of the race rather. It was a clean opening lap of the race for these fantastic sounding, fantastic looking GT1 cars. We have V8s, V10s and V12s here for you today. 5 different makes of car as well. We have Lamborghinis, we have Salines, we have Listers, we have Chryslers and we have Ferraris. Through the second sector of the second lap, the driver's head. Any changes so far this lap? I'll alert you if I see any. Very close at different parts of the order. There's a bit of a scrap between Carvalho, Williams and Yücel there, but no move just yet. And Jeroen Remmers appears to have been delayed a bit as well. So possibly a couple of issues there for Remmers, but he's still running in this race, as is everyone. What can John Van der Geest do about Pablo Finotti this time around? The interesting thing, of course, about the Watkins Glen circuit is that it's a very fast-paced one, meaning it's very difficult to actually pull off an overtake. You need to be so creative. And Van der Geest not quite managing it at this early stage. Remember, we will have a pit stop later on in the race though. It's not mandatory, but these cars simply can't do 1.5 hours on one tank of fuel. So there will be a pit stop at some point, but until then it's just about sticking with your opponent and presenting yourself if you need to, if the opportunity arises. But if you keep pressuring your opponent and just make sure you're there if they make a mistake, that's all you can really do sometimes, especially at this early point in the race, where the cars are all on roughly the same amount of fuel, the same tyre life, and they've all seen the circuit roughly the same number of times as well. Van der Geest there goes a bit wide there, taking an attacking line, but he's not close enough yet to Finotti to challenge for anything. Here's a good place to do it if you're going to pull a move. This is a long straight between the toe and the heel, turns 7 and 8, but not able to find any room. And Phil Brown just joining them as well. Remember that Brown qualified second, so he qualified faster than both of these guys, and then dropped back at the very start of this race. Phil Brown in the Ferrari. In fact, are the top 5 all racing different makes of car? We've got Lamborghini, Saleen, Lister, Ferrari, and then Chrysler. So, oh no, that's another Lister. We have Chrysler 6. So we have 5 different car manufacturers in the top 6. And if Yusuf Masip passes Laurent Lons here, then that will mean we have 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just proves how evenly matched these GT1 cars are, and how fantastic their series was and still is. Of course, there is no official GT1 series anymore, so we have to stick with racing their old cars on simulators. But of course, that's changing next year as we're getting hypercar regulations to the World Endurance Championship. It's going to be effectively like a continuation of GT1, which I'm very excited to see. So once again towards the boot, the driver's head, and it's still Ricciardi, Finotti, Van der Geest, meaning the top 3 are the top 3 in the championship. Ricciardi and Finotti are tied on points coming into this round, and then Van der Geest is third, just 10 points behind both of them. Ricciardi won the opening round of this championship, and then was involved in an incident in race 2. That was an incident with Tony Talviti, who is watching us this week. Good to see you here, Tony. He says, I bet John is on a 2-stopper. John Van der Geest there in 3rd place. Well, we'll have to watch that. As I see some of the cars have their headlights on as well. Yeah, good to see everyone here in the YouTube chat. Redline Racing, Tony Talviti, Ida White. I see in the YouTube chat, and if you are joining us today, it would be good to see you leave a comment, and we hope you're enjoying it. Tony Talviti says, I wish I was racing, just got out from work. Well, hopefully we can see you back in this championship on a future round. Shame you can't be with us today. Tony Talviti, of course, the winner of the last race, so a bit of a loss to this league, but maybe not a permanent one if you can make it in for the next round of the championship in 2 weeks' time. But of course, today we have a race on our hands here at Watkins Glen. It's a classic circuit. Many racing, pretty much all racing fans know Watkins Glen from the classic days of Formula 1, from kart, from NASCAR, from IndyCar, from IMSA maybe, and today from GT1. It's a circuit that's well respected as a real driver's circuit. It's one that you really have to tame. A real chain there from Laurent Lons back to Philip Pickler through Yusuf Masip. That's 5th, 6th and 7th there. And I'm sure a lot of this order is going to be shaken up when we start getting pit stop strategies into play. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if John Van der Geest is on a 2-stop here, and the reason I say that is because Van der Geest appears to be a lot quicker than Pablo Finotti in this early stage of the race. Just can't find a way through, and that might indicate he started either low on fuel. Well, it might indicate that he started low on fuel. Oh, slight look there. I just noticed that Van der Geest did have a look at Finotti right as I'm saying that, so right on cue, but couldn't quite find a way through. I should also point out that we're we are humbled by the presence of our cameraman today, Matheus Marçal.
Hello.
Who's showing you. Hello. Yeah, you heard him there. That's Matheus, who is he's showing you everything that you are seeing on your screen, and is doing a great job of it. So great to have you here, Matheus.
Very much. Great to have you here too, Joshua.
No problem. I'm of course your commentator, Joshua Penny, and I'm pleased to be here for another round of the RSS GT1 Championship. That's close in the background. Yusuf Masset there ran over the grass slightly there on the back of Laurent Lond's car. Seems like he just ran a little bit wide in the turbulent air. Bit of understeer and went over the grass, but didn't lose much time for that. That's that 3-car chain there. He was lucky not to lose out to Philip Pickler and all of that. Pickler in 7th place. There's a lot of drivers here really getting hampered by the drivers in front of them because it's so difficult to overtake at this circuit. And that means that if you get stuck behind a driver you're quicker than, it can really cost you a lot of race time, and it can really hamper your strategy sometimes. And if John van der Geest is on a 2-stopper like some of us think he may be, then this is really going to be affecting him. He would very much like to have pulled out away from Pablo Finotti at the start of this race, but no such luck. So as we complete now, we've completed the first 10 minutes of the race. Still no change between Finotti and van der Geest. They're still absolutely together, but no change between the two of them. Couple of people pulling out of the slipstream down the straight there. Philip Pickler gets past Yusuf Masset, so Pickler must have just got a good run there out of the S's, and Pickler passes Yusuf Masset for 6th position. That's the first major overtake of this race so far. Pickler passing Masset for 6th. Masset now in 7th in the Chrysler. In the background as well, I've just seen Camusel all over the back of Steph Williams' car. In fact, he's passed him. No, he hasn't. That's actually Steph Williams all over the back of Ricardo Carvalho. Sorry, just got a bit confused there. Musel himself is under attack from Nathan Lockie in the Lister. That's for 10th position. Oh, and a crash behind. That's Eric Klein, who's been into the wall and spinning behind him as well. Your own Remmers possibly spun in avoidance, so 2 cars off there. Now where's that on the course? That's just coming through the left-hander at turn 9, and Klein went into the wall hard, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has some steering damage to that car. The windscreen is damaged there, and it actually wasn't turn 9. That would have been the chute, so that was turn 6. An unusual place to lose control, and he's going to lose control again. In fact, yeah, he's gone off the road again. So real problems there for Eric. Oh, that's your own Remmers, in fact, who just went off. So Remmers looks to have more issues, possibly some more. Oh, and Klein's going around as well. So I think they are both damaged. They will definitely both have tyre damage after this. Klein and Remmers having real problems further back, losing places and dropping to the back of the order. Remmers has stayed out of the pits, so obviously feels like it's not dramatic enough to dive in. However, Eric Klein is making a stop, so problems for Eric Klein in the Saleen, and he makes a pit stop. Up in front, however, still the battle rages between van der Geest and Finotti. They are so close, as they have been the entire way in this race. And Laurent Lons there is ahead of Phil Brown, so something's happened there. They've changed places, and Lons is ahead of Brown for 4th position. That's changed, and I didn't see that coming, so maybe there was a mistake for Phil Brown, because he was not under attack until just now. And watch Philip Pickler coming from behind him as well. Philip Pickler got close, but no cigar, because they are banned by the by the drugs tests. Only joking. This is simulator racing. Through the final 2 corners of the lap they go. And we're going to see confirmation as they cross the line that Laurent Lons is ahead of Phil Brown. Lons in the Celine, Brown in the Ferrari. I didn't see how that happened, but Brown was about a second ahead of Lons last time I looked, so I presume it was something to do with a mistake by Lons. Oh, something I missed that the stream just saw was a battle between... was that Nathan Lockie getting past Cam Ucell? Yes, it was. You just saw that on the stream. However, I should point out that I'm not receiving the same footage that the stream is. Oh, look now at Philip Pickler, who's under attack from Yusuf Masset. Masset definitely had a look to the inside as they went towards the chicane. However, you have to be much further alongside the... And Steph Williams is off. I just saw that in the background. Steph Williams ran over the grass and I believe went into the barrier as well. Is there any damage to his steering, possibly? No, it doesn't look like it as he goes towards the inner loop. So just a mistake there for Steph Williams, costing him a bit of time. As Brown took a little look at Lons, and Lons runs slightly wide, still has that place. All of a sudden I don't really know where to look. You've got Lons followed by Brown, Pickler, Masset. Carvalho not far behind. And then Steph Williams of course wasn't far behind until he made a mistake earlier in this lap.
We have Van der Geest and Finotti really close to each other.
Yeah, they have been for this entire race. Van der Geest has been absolutely hampering Finotti, but it looks as if he's really struggling to find a way through. That Celine just has the legs in a straight line, and that's making it very difficult for Van der Geest to find a way through. It seems like he's really gaining in the corners, as we'd expect with the car with as much downforce as that fantastic looking Lister. But just up the hill like there and along the straights, John Van der Geest can't keep with Pablo Finotti. Have a look again though behind at Yusuf Masset, who has just got past Philip Pickler. Now this was the point on the track last time around where he had a look. Now he's actually got him. So Masset up to 6th, Pickler is down to 7th. What is it with missing everything that's going on today? But whatever the case, yeah, there was a change there. I just tried to look back on the stream to see what happened to Steph Williams as well. We didn't see, he just went shooting off at the end of the chicane, and that is a common place to see cars going off because it's extremely fast, and yeah, it's extremely fast, and the curbs are very, very high as well, so it does tend to spit cars off. I've been the victim there many, many times. Very much like the S's as well, you have to keep off the curbs in the S's a lot of the time. I did a GT3 race earlier this year at this circuit, where a car tried to bump draft me through the S's, and yeah, that didn't go well. That was how I lost the race. But anyway, we're now coming to the end of the first 20 minutes of this race, and we are 10 laps through as well, so 10 laps, we're into double figures. John Van der Geest has dropped off the back of Pablo Finotti. Now I didn't see how that happened, but yeah, Van der Geest has dropped off the back of Finotti. Philip Pickler just set the fastest first sector of this race so far, so obviously he's not taking it lying down, but Masset passed him last time around. He's using the slipstream, he's trying to keep with Yusuf Masset, but he's struggling so far. Now does that mean we now have 5 different makes in the top 5? No, not quite, because Lons and Van der Geest are both listers. I'd love to see that at some point in this race. 5 cars, 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. That'd be fantastic. But we haven't quite seen it yet. Watch down this back straight. This is where slipstreaming comes into play. But you really have to pull your car alongside the other one before the heel if you're going to have a chance at overtaking, and neither of these drivers quite managed it there. So 20 minutes is up in this race, and it's still Ricciardi leading from Finotti, Van der Geest, Lons, Brown and Massett. That might be about to change because Brown is taking a look at Lons. Lons goes defensive, he feels the force of Brown going to the outside, and Massett there tried to capitalise on that and follow him through, but there was no move that quite occurred. It was very close, but didn't quite happen. Down the back straight, more slipstreaming takes place here. It's a difficult place to pull a move because of the single file nature of the bus stop chicane. And again, that's a place where you really have to get your car all the way alongside your opponent's car. And there are often very awkward situations going into that chicane where two drivers are side by side and neither of them knows exactly who's supposed to give way, and they end up coming together. I've seen that a couple of times. Oh, look at Phil Brown there taking a very different line to Laurent Lons, trying to force Lons into a mistake, which he gets. Lons goes a bit wide and he sticks with him on the exit. Doesn't have the overlap though. In fact, Yusuf Massett gets the best run out of that, and Massett, can he hold it around the outside? He's far too far back for that, and Brown just covers off the line. So some great defence, if nothing else, in this chain here. And I really thought Massett was going to get a great opportunity there. He had the slipstream of Lons ahead, and Brown was forced offline by the move he'd attempted to make. But at the end of all of that, Massett couldn't quite find his way past. But that Chrysler is so fast. And now he goes for it again on the inside, but brakes too early. Oh, and spins! Yusuf Massett is around, and I think he tagged the wall in that as well. He's certainly losing a lot of time. Here comes. Now who's that going through? That would have been Riccardo Carvalho. So that means Massett is now down to 8th place. He lost a place to Pickler, he lost a place to Carvalho, and he's now a long way behind Phil Brown, who he was battling before. In fact, on his tail now are Steph Williams and Nathan Lockie. It looks as if he was just too eager to get on the throttle, and around he went. That may have been curb induced as well. It was just a combination of factors that spun Yusuf Massett around. I'm going to have a look back at that now. Indeed, he was on the curb, he was on the throttle, round went the car, and face first into the tyre wall. It was at a very slow speed, so I don't think it would have damaged his car, but it certainly has damaged his race. And he's going to have to do something clever with the pit strategy now. More YouTube chat messages now. Redline Racing says Davide is building a nice lead. Yeah, it's 4.3 seconds at the minute. It was out to 5 seconds at one point, so Finotti's brought it back a little bit. But yeah, still a comfortable margin there with Ricciardi leading. Then he's asking Tony, is a two-stop viable? When I tested, soft tyres weren't that much faster than mediums. Indeed, we believe that John Van der Geest is on soft tyres and Pablo Finotti is on mediums, possibly. Unless, actually no, I'd expect them all to be on soft tyres at this early stage in the race, so I ignore what I just said there. Oh, Steph Williams losing pace. He's actually just been passed there by Nathan Lockie down the start-finish straight. So, actually I don't think he was losing pace. I think he just got a slightly bad run out of that final corner, and Nathan Lockie was able to find his way through. So Lockie up to 9th, Williams down to 10th. I'm also interested to see what Yusuf Massett can do with these next few laps, because Massett, of course, he just spun, believes that he should be much further up the order to the position he's in now. Oh, and someone's off. Who was that? It was Laurent Lons. Lons is off, and someone else is off with him. Someone else is off with him, and that's Riccardo Carvalho. So Lons went off and Carvalho went off, possibly in sympathy. I'm going to have a look back to see just what happened there. Well, Lons was already off and Carvalho hit him. So Lons had spun, Carvalho couldn't avoid him, went straight into his side. And now they're together on the road. Are they damaged? I'm going to ride on board with them to see just what happened. To see just if they are damaged. Well, Carvalho's going very slowly through that. Lons is going for the move. Oh, but gets crowded onto the grass there. It seems that Carvalho is struggling all of a sudden. And that was a heavy hit as well. You saw it on the stream. And I'm not sure what caused Laurent Lons to be off the road and sideways. But whatever the case... Well, actually, no, the problem was he wasn't off the road. He'd spun, he was sideways across the road. And Carvalho ploughed straight into his side. And whatever caused that, we don't know. But it has affected both drivers. They're now a long way down the order. That means that Philip Pickler's up to 4th, followed by Phil Brown, Yusuf Massett, Nathan Lockie, Steph Williams, Ricardo Carvalho and Laurent Lons. So they're 9th and 10th now in this race. And that means Massett's back up to the position he was in before. He's in 6th place, but he would be in 4th at this point in the race. If, well, he would be in 5th rather, because he was already ahead of Carvalho before he spun. Couple of incidents at this stage in the race. I'm wondering when the pit stops are going to start coming into effect. If Van der Geest is indeed on a 2-stopper, which isn't confirmed, then he's going to be in relatively soon. But in fact, talking of Van der Geest, he's again in Finotti's slipstream. Still, Philip Pickler's actually right with them. But Van der Geest really struggling to find a way through, as he has been for this entire race so far. But everyone else who's going for a one-stop strategy, I'd expect them to pit at around the 40 to 50 minute mark. We're currently not even 30 laps or 30 minutes through this race. Down the start-finish straight they go. And Finotti moving over a little bit. He certainly saw Van der Geest in his mirrors there. He's certainly feeling the pressure. You saw his car was just a little bit nervous over the crest there. Van der Geest still absolutely challenging, but no, not finding a way through. There are no heavy braking points at this circuit. You can take the entire course in 3rd gear or above, I believe. I haven't driven it in a GT1 car, but it was certainly 3rd gear or above in a GT3 when I drove that. Meaning that overtaking is something you only really do either with the slipstream or if your opponent makes a big error. So down the hill, Finotti and Van der Geest head. The gap to the lead is still about 4.3 seconds. It's been very stable for the whole of this race so far. That's also the gap in the championship fight at the minute, as Riccardi and Finotti are on the same number of points. And then Van der Geest is 3rd place in the championship, just 10 points behind. And of course 10 points sounds like a lot, but it's actually only the gap between 1st and 4th in a race. Meaning that if a driver who was 10 points behind won the race with their opponent 4th, which isn't unlikely, then the championship would level out. But maybe Van der Geest, getting held up by Finotti here, is throwing off his strategy. We're not entirely sure. In fact, the gap to the lead there just came down by over a second on that lap. Yeah, Davide Ricciardi had a very slow lap that last time around. Maybe he's beginning to struggle, or maybe he just made a bit of a mistake. The gap to the lead is now 3.2 seconds. But it did come down by over a second on that last lap. When I spectate Ricciardi, I can now see Finotti and Van der Geest in the background. And that's worrying for Davide Ricciardi, especially if it's not a long-going problem, if it's not an instant problem, rather. Incidentally, it's still very close between Riccardo Carvalho and Laurent Lons, but Lons hasn't been able to pass Carvalho yet. Those are the two drivers who were involved in that incident at the top of the hill a little while ago. That very large bit of contact. Philip Pickler still under attack from Phil Brown. And remember, not so long ago, Brown... Actually, yeah, that's something I didn't pick up on. Not so long ago, Brown was right in the back of Finotti and Van der Geest. Or Pickler was, rather. Meaning he's dropped back a long way, about 7 seconds since then. Something may have happened to Philip Pickler that I didn't see. And now he's under attack from Phil Brown in 5th place. And Van der Geest is alongside Finotti. This is the moment we've been waiting for the entire race so far. The moment that Van der Geest finally finds a way past Pablo Finotti, and he's done it. He found his way alongside him, but Finotti's coming back to him with the switchback, and Finotti gets him back into the S's. That's crucial for Pablo Finotti, because Van der Geest has proven so far in the race that he has the pace advantage, and if he'd got through there, there's a chance Finotti wouldn't have seen him again. But now Finotti has got him back again with the switchback. He needed to do it. It was then or never, pretty much. A great bit of fighting from both of these guys, but Pablo Finotti comes out on top for now. And that was a moment that's been brewing for the entire race. 30 minutes now has elapsed. 31 minutes has elapsed. And these two drivers are still absolutely fighting. Remember though, if Van der Geest can do the same thing again next lap, but cover off the exit, then he's got it. As he heads up through the hill, he'll definitely be thinking about this. He'll be setting up his overtake several corners in advance. Meanwhile, on that last lap, we seem to have lost Laurent Lons. Well, we haven't lost him, he's just dropped 3 positions. Yeah, his last lap was extremely slow, 2:05, so either he had another spin or a pit stop. It was one of the two. Wouldn't have been a pit stop, it was too slow for a pit stop, so I think Lons had a real issue on that last lap. Van der Geest did not get alongside Finotti there. So, also still very close between Philip Pickler and Phil Brown. The two Phils going at it there. And they're side by side up the hill. In fact, Pickler loses the place. Now, I didn't see that coming because on the exit of the corner, they didn't appear to even be battling. But somehow, Philip Pickler's lost the place. Well, that's interesting. But whatever the case, Phil Brown is up into 4th, ahead of Philip Pickler in 5th. So Brown is back through now. I'm not entirely sure what happened there because it must have just been a really bad exit for Philip Pickler. Maybe he spun up the rear tyres and had to correct a bit of a slide. I didn't see it. So when will the pit stops start coming in? I expect in about 6 or 7 minutes we're going to see the first few. It's a 90-minute race, meaning the halfway point is exactly 45 minutes. But not many drivers go for exactly halfway. Tends to be that they pit either slightly before or slightly after. And John Van der Geest again gets onto the back of Pablo Finotti. He gained on that last lap. So still this battle for second rages. And if Van der Geest can just stick with Finotti through the through the tight parts of this course. You can possibly get him back in the slipstream, as he tried to do a couple of laps ago. Philip Pickler as well, still within a second of Phil Brown. And close between Steph Williams and Nathan Lockie too. They're right together on the extra turn 1 there. So a couple of battles going on this course at the minute. Oh, and off! Van der Geest is off! Van der Geest and Finotti have come together! Finotti is slow! And is there damage to Finotti's car? I don't think so. Oh yes, look at that! Bad steering damage for Pablo Finotti! Very bad steering damage for Pablo Finotti! And John Van der Geest was involved as well. So, terrible news. Second and third have come together. Now, I don't know if the stream picked that up. But whatever the case... Ah, yeah, it didn't. So, unfortunately, we have no idea what just happened between second and third place. Finotti and Van der Geest. It was a nice clean duel, as Bill G said there. Hi to Bill G. That'll be Bill Grucock, I believe. But whatever the case, they've now come together, and surely Finotti's going to have to pit at the end of this lap. His steering is hanging heavily to one side. Now, does he just leave it out there? Yes, he does. He's risking it. It must be a terrible car to drive at the minute, but he's staying out anyway. So Phil Brown inherits second place, Philip Pickler inherits third, and then Finotti is fourth, but he's losing it to to Yusuf Matchett rather. And Finotti is crawling around this circuit now. He's going to have to make a pit stop. I'm surprised he didn't make a stop that last time around. He's absolutely, yeah, he's creeping up the S's. That is a disaster for one of our joint championship leaders and third place in the championship. Finotti and Van der Geest have come together, and that is great news for Davide Ricciardi, as Ricciardi, of course, was tied on points with Finotti, and now he's suddenly seen his two main championship rivals knocked out of contention. Van der Geest is now in 6th position, and he's just catching Finotti. In fact, he's going to go through very, very easily here, I'm sure. Hopefully, anyway. So this is for 5th position here, and Finotti is going very, very slowly with a heavily damaged car. Van der Geest's car doesn't appear to be damaged anywhere near as much, and Van der Geest goes cleanly through on the outside. Finotti tucks into a slipstream, but Finotti is crabbing badly. Van der Geest up to 5th. Next behind Finotti is the battling pair of Steph Williams and Nathan Lockie. They get past him with no issue. The white flags will be waving at that portion of the circuit, or they would be in reality anyway. Ricardo Carvalho now coming up behind the hampered Finotti, and we see confirmation that he's losing places now. And does he pull into the pits this time around? Surely he does. No, he's staying out. Finotti obviously feels that it would be a lot worse to pit now and risk not being able to make the remainder of the race on one fuel tank than it would be to pit and repair the car now. I'm a little bit baffled by that, but judging by just how much pace he's losing here. He's over 25 seconds slower than he normally is around this lap. He's just lost places to he's just lost a place to Ricardo Carvalho as well. That is dreadful. We didn't see what happened with John Van der Geest. We don't know whose fault it was or just how it was caused, but I'm sure that it's going to be sorted out after the race. Battling duo here is Steph Williams, Nathan Lockie, as meanwhile no, never mind, that was a car being lapped. And Lockie's got past now. Williams ran wide, so Nathan Lockie got up the inside and has gone through into 6th position in the race. Watch Williams coming back in the slipstream, but he's too far back. And actually locks up a tyre there, going into the heel, turn 8. So now, at the end of that lap, another 10 minutes is coming to an end. We have now been racing for 40 minutes. So we're approaching the halfway point in this race. And yeah, Bill G says, that's a shame. It was a great battle to watch, and indeed it was. Until unfortunately it all went absolutely pear-shaped. And we lost a great battle in this race. 2 championship contenders taken out of contention, and now Pablo Finotti pits. A couple of laps too late if you ask me, but Finotti is in anyway. As, meanwhile, Laurent Lons has just passed Nuno Rodriguez there. That's for 11th place. So, Lons, who was hampered by incidents earlier on in the race, has just gained 1 place back to Nuno Rodriguez, the Portuguese driver. But Rodriguez isn't taking it lying down as they go towards the bus stop. Take a look to the outside, but no room through there, and he runs slightly over the curbs. And Nathan Lockie has really got away from Steph Williams now, so there must have been a mistake for Steph Williams, because Lockie is miles ahead all of a sudden. So as we're approaching the pit stop window, the order is Davide Ricciardi leading from Phil Brown, Philip Pickler, Yusuf Massett. Oh, Pickler's in the pits, so Pickler pits. Then it's Yusuf Massett, John van der Geest, Nathan Lockie, Steph Williams, Ricardo Carvalho, Clan Ucel. And it was Pablo Finotti in 10th, but he's pitted. Then it's Nuno Rodriguez, Laurent Lons, Denis Oshenko, Flavio Bosca, and your own Remers. In fact, Remers is attempting to pass Bosca here up the inside, but he's too far back. Following them, Darrell Kruger in 16th, and Rob Milliken is at the back of the remaining order in 17th position. 17 drivers remaining in this race. We lost Eric Klein a couple of laps ago. And Joseph Wright never started this race, neither did Roger Hines. Or Johnny Gutierrez. Also in the pits now is Nuno Rodriguez. Pulls in just in front of Philip Pickler. You don't have to worry about cars running into each other in the pits here. That's not an issue in this league. Jerome Remers is in the pits. Ricardo Carvalho is in the pits. As Philip Pickler now exits. We'll give you another update once everyone has made their pit stop. And I'll tell you just how the order has been affected. If I miss anything, it would be great if someone could put it in the YouTube chat and point it out. But I'll try my best not to miss anything. So the leaders stay out for another lap. They're running well. I don't see why we'd see Ricciardi, Brown, or Massett pitting anytime soon. A couple more laps, and then possibly. Talking about actually, Yusuf Massett will be gaining back a couple of points here on Van der Geest and Finotti. Massett, of course, running 4th in the championship, might be about to jump up into 2nd place. He was 12 points behind the leaders, only 2 points behind Van der Geest though, so this actually is really his chance at this point in the race, at this point in the championship, to gain some points back on his rival. Unfortunately, we saw an incident last time out, of course, between Davide Ricciardi and Tony Talviti as they came together going towards turn 1 at Road America, and that affected Ricciardi mainly, as Talviti went on to win the race, and Ricciardi ended up losing a lot of time in that one. Steph Williams is in the pits. he's been running well. The Welsh driver. He's been in a furious battle, of course, so far this race with Nathan Lockie. Also into the pits, Lauren Lons, another driver with a lot of pace, who's been hampered by incidents. He was running 4th very early on in this race before spinning and getting collected by Ricardo Carvalho. It does look like Phil Brown was gradually reeling, or is gradually reeling, Davide Ricciardi down, and Ricciardi hits this time around. I should give credit to Bill G and Redline Racing there for pointing out that Phil pulled about 4 seconds back onto to Davide in the last couple of laps. He's still catching, but Ricciardi is in the pits this time around. John van der Geest also in, as well as Nathan Lockie. The pit lane's getting a bit busy this time around. Steph Williams still in. I think a pit stop takes about a minute on this circuit. In fact, why hasn't Steph Williams got going yet? This is a lot longer than I'd expect. Now that is a bit worrying for Steph Williams there. We'll see. Davide Ricciardi still in the pits as we'd expect. Drivers who haven't pitted yet: Phil Brown, Yusuf Massett, Can Yücel, Denis Ashenko I don't believe has pitted, neither has Flavio Bosga.
Ricciardi just left pits.
Yeah, Davide Ricciardi has just left the pits now. Steph Williams is still there. Yeah, there are cars leaving the pits all around Steph Williams. He's been there for a long time, and I believe we have real problems for the Welsh driver in the Ferrari. He's now dropped behind Ricardo Carvalho, so yeah, real problems here for Steph Williams, and that may be damage repairs. I'm not entirely sure what's going on for that car. It's definitely being worked on. I just saw it getting moved around. But he's losing place after place for no apparent reason. Incidentally, the two leaders now are Phil Brown and Yusuf Massett, who still haven't pitted. And the gap between them is 4 seconds. Massett's been sticking with Brown.
Brown's really fast, even 45 minutes after the even like a half an hour.
He is, but I'm still impressed by... Yeah, definitely. His last lap was a 1:49, pretty much dead. I'm still impressed by the pace of the two Turkish drivers behind him though, because Yusuf Massett and Can Yücel haven't pitted yet, and they're still running under 1:49. Their last laps were each under 1:49 there.
Really consistent, is it?
It really is, yeah. And that's about the pace, actually, that Philip Pickler's now lapping after he's been out of the pits. So it's great to see consistency like that in drivers. So far this race. Who's in? Sorry.
Flavio Bosga.
Ah, yeah, Flavio Bosga. Is that? Yeah, that's a Ferrari. So Flavio Bosga pits the Ferrari. Yeah, it's great to see consistency like that, especially seeing as it's such a long race. 1 hour and 30 minutes, it's effectively a Grand Prix length in terms of time, meaning that consistency is absolutely key. You can't be making too many mistakes because it's a very long race, and it's going to affect you. Yeah. Yeah, they're both in now. So Phil Brown and Yusuf Massett is in, and I'm expecting Can Yücel to pit not too long. Well, possibly this lap as well, actually. So Brown and Massett pit, and it'll be interesting to see where they come out in relation to Davide Ricciardi, who's just going up through. That would be turn 8, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out in relation. That wasn't turn 8. In fact, that was turn 7. John van der Geest flying now as well. He's just at the first and second sector of the race so far. Fastest lap, incidentally, I believe, is still held by John van der Geest. 146.469 to him. Indeed, that is the fastest lap of the race so far. Canusel did not pit, so he will now lead this race.
No pits for Assetto too.
Yes, so Denis Assetto, I think, will be up into second place. No, he isn't, because... Oh yeah, he is. Okay, so Assetto's second. In fact, Davide Ricciardi is right behind him, and that's going to be affecting him a bit. Ricciardi is out of the... Well, yeah, he's still a long way ahead of Phil Brown. We'll see what the gap there is after this lap. I believe it's come out a bit, actually. Oh, and Phil Brown's behind John van der Geest. So van der Geest has flown there, and he's jumped Phil Brown. In fact, he must have jumped quite a few people there. I'm expecting him to also jump Yusuf Massett then, when Massett comes... Well, there's Massett. Where's... Van der Geest is ahead of Massett, so Van der Geest there jumped 2 cars with that strategy. It was a great
Massett
opening stint.
Almost spun his car around at a bus stop.
Massett did?
Almost spun his car around. Got into the brakes, locked up the brakes, now on 7th place.
Okay. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. He lost the place to Pickler and all of that. So yeah, you're right there. Good spot. I'm expecting Massett, especially now, to drop behind John van der Geest, but he was already behind him. And that means that van der Geest, who is on a one-stop strategy, I'm sure, seeing as he pits at about the same time as everyone else.
They'll go into the pits.
Yeah, Canusel into the pits now. He's the last driver, I think, who did not make a pit stop before, who now pulls it in. And that means that at the end of next lap we will see the full confirmed order.
Assetto is still not pitting. Putting Ricciardi.
Oh, that's true, yeah, Assetto still hasn't pitted, and that means Ricciardi is still stuck behind him. And Assetto, of course, is not obliged to give up this position. Must be very frustrating for Ricciardi, but Assetto is legally allowed to do this, seeing as they are on the same lap. And now Ricciardi goes to the inside and does clear him. No, he doesn't. Assetto's still there. That's fantastic from Assetto. I mean, it's terrible for the race leader, but Assetto, I pointed him out in the last race. He has a habit of giving the leaders a hard time. He always likes to come back at them just to prove he's still there after he gets lapped. And now today as well, he's showing more of that attitude, that personality. And doesn't give up the place to Ricciardi there. This is going to be so frustrating for the Italian.
And Assetto having a way less fuel than Ricciardi and having a way lighter car really helps when braking really late.
And look in his mirrors too, look in Ricciardi's mirrors, that's John van der Geest. So John van der Geest, who's been flying recently, has caught right onto the back of him. Ricciardi has been absolutely hampered by Denis Assetto, not diving out of the way. And Assetto is putting on a fantastic performance for us here. He's not going to be Ricciardi's favourite person in the world here, but such driving personality from Denis Assetto.
Not giving up.
He's not pitting! Denis Assetto, well, I think he thought about... He's defending the lead! He's defending the lead right to the pit wall! Look at Van der Geest! Van der Geest to the inside, goes for the effective lead, and goes up the inside. This is fantastic! Assetto's going wide! And Davide Ricciardi is not giving it up! Over the curb, over the runner ferry, there's contact! There's side-to-side contact as they head up through the S's! Ricciardi had to back out of it! And John van der Geest now goes up to the effective lead of the race. Assetto is now his problem in the other lister. This is an amazing turn in the race. Oh, he thought that Assetto was getting out the way from there. He really thought he was going to, but no, he did not. Van der Geest locks up. What a fantastic turn in the race this is, and it's really cheeky here from Assetto. I mean, he is not going to be popular. But look at this as well. Van der Geest had to go wide, and they're side by side again. Ricciardi coming straight back at him as they head up the hill. And there's an absolute bottleneck. There's a and around. Oh my word. Davide Ricciardi spins. Phil Brown goes through to effective second. Davide Ricciardi there had to touch the brakes to avoid the back of John Van der Geest's car. And Van der Geest is still stuck by Nishenko. That's terrible for Ricciardi. Ricciardi losing control, losing out to Phil Brown. Oh, and a big twitch from Nishenko. He's still backing up Van der Geest. And Phil Brown's going to be on the back of Van der Geest as well. The race is being decided by Denis Nishenko, who now pits. He's pitting the car finally. Goodness me, that's almost a shame. My word. Into the pits comes Denis Nishenko. At the same time, the most and least popular driver on the grid. He pits his car. The race leader now, completely by Nishenko's own decision, is John Van der Geest. Phil Brown is second. Davide Ricciardi drops to third. Goodness me, what have we just witnessed there?
Just absolutely craziness by Nishenko. Having a way slower car, just holding up the championship leader like that.
He crowded him right to the pit wall. He was not giving up the place, and he didn't need to. According to morals, he maybe should have done, but according to the rules, he was completely entitled to do what he did, and I'm so glad he did, because that was so exciting.
Oh yeah.
And goodness me, that's really shaken up the race. It's a shame to see that Ricciardi made a mistake in all of that and dropped to third, but. My word, that was one of the most exciting things I've ever had to commentate, and yeah, Redline Racing has just worded it worded it fantastically. He said, "I don't find an issue with Dennis. He was in the lead. He had the right to hold P1. He did legally. He had the right to do exactly what he did. It reminded me of Verstappen and Ocon at the Brazilian Grand Prix recently. My view on that is that Ocon was completely entitled to do what he did. It was only because they made contact that that he ended up getting penalised for it. But honestly, I think that that would have been in Ricciardi's mind. He would have known that he couldn't fight Nishenko hard for it unless he ended up getting taken off. And luckily that wasn't the case. But he did end up losing out to both John Van der Geest and Phil Brown in all of that. So Van der Geest now leads the race by just under a second from Phil Brown. We've got a real fight for the lead on our hands here.
Look at the battle for 4th position.
Yeah, that's Yusuf Massett now catching Philip Pickler. He's in the slipstream. In fact, this is where he passed Philip Pickler before the pit stages.
Nathan Lockie's
just got back past him.
Back there. Just waiting for a mistake.
That's the lister of Nathan Lockie in 6th position. He's gained a lot of places from his qualifying position as well. He remember, he only qualified 13th, so to run 6th here is a great performance. He's just been very consistent. One of the most consistent drivers on the grid so far today. Had to fight with Steph Williams though. He's now taking a look to the outside of Yusuf Massett. Look at that! And in fact, look at the grip! Look at the grip from that lister! He's still with him on the exit, and he's got him around the outside of turn 7. That was brilliant there from Nathan Lockie. Yusuf Massett attempting to come back at him, but can't quite get with him. And Philip Pickler's just a sitting duck now as he watches Nathan Lockie in his mirrors. Lockie on a charge has just gone right around the outside of Yusuf Massett. He's got so much grip in those tyres. Now down the start-finish straight they go again. You see confirmation of Lockie moving ahead of Massett. Just as I thought that Massett was challenging Pickler. But sometimes in racing, the hunter becomes the hunted. Talking of that, Van der Geest and Brown right together. Brown actually taking a peek out of the slipstream, showing himself to Van der Geest mirrors as they go into the bus stop chicane. So the battle there is still on. And the order after every pit stop has been completed is Van der Geest from Brown, Ricciardi, Pickler, Lockie, Massett, Carvalho, Finotti, Lons, Ucel, then Rodriguez, Ashenko, Kruger, Remmers, and Bosger. Ooh, as Kruger's losing time to Remmers. Remmers might go through here for 13th place. Ducks to the inside towards turn 1, and does he brake later? They're still side by side. Kruger not giving it up. They're going to still be side by side as they go up towards the S's, but I believe that Remmers has the run. And indeed, Jerome Remmers claims 13th position in all of that. Whoa, Kruger almost came back at him. That was close, but couldn't find a way through. Remember that points go... In fact, he's coming back at him now. Daryl Kruger on the inside towards the bus stop. What a great race these two are having. And through he goes. So Kruger back through into 13th, not letting Remmers at that position. Following them, Flavio Bosger, Rob Milliken. And unfortunately, Steph Williams is out of this race. Milliken just getting out of the way of the leaders there. The leaders, Van der Geest and Brown, going through, separated by just 0.8 of a second. It's a close race for the lead. Then we have a three-way battle for 4th as well. Still Pickler, Lockie and Massett as it was before. A good battle for 13th and 14th as well between Kruger and Remmers. Up through the S's, Lockie's got a bad run. Massett's got a good run on him. And this is where Massett is so strong. He always pulls his moves heading up towards the bus stop. And it looks as if he might be about to go for another one. There's no room there. There's no room there. And he has to go onto the grass. Oh, if he'd just gone to the inside there, he may well have had that. But he went for a gap that wasn't there and ended up on the grass. As Lockie now challenges Pickler. A mistake from Yusuf Massett. Very nearly ending in disaster for either him or Lockie or both. As Lockie gets a good run now out of turn 6. Up towards turn 7. Can he go around the outside of Pickler too? No, he can't. That's how he did it on Massett. But he can't go around the outside of Pickler as well. That would have been impressive. And actually dips the wheel onto the grass on the exit there. Into the braking zone. He brakes later than Pickler. And actually gets a switchback now. Nathan Lockie up the hill. He's got a lot of grip and can just get those good exits like that. And a good exit is exactly what you need at this circuit. Watkins Glen is the most effective way of overtaking someone, but there's no room there. Final corner, get a good exit here, and he's got it. That was a good exit. He's in the slipstream. I don't think he's quite going to get alongside him though.
Not that fast.
No, definitely not. And he put himself on a bad line there, and that's dangerous because this, remember, is where Massett's strong. But Massett's a little way back. Oh, but he's still catching through the S's. Yeah, Massett is very strong through the S's here. And now he's going to challenge again. This is where he went off last. Whoa! My word, completely over the grass. Actually had to brake there as he got back onto the road. Now, Massett has had two fantastic opportunities there for an overtake. You know, he could have pulled the overtake either of those times, and he's messed it up both times. Just putting his car on the grass when completely unnecessary. And I don't know quite what he's doing, but yeah, Massett really didn't need to do that.
Just being
and that's cost
really
him another chance.
on that.
He's being so over-aggressive. It's almost a replay of last lap, look, because Lockie again is going around the outside of Philip Pickler. He might do it this time. No. Oh yeah, he might. He's still there. He's still there. Does Pickler know he's there? He's half on the grass. Wheels on the grass there as they go down the straight. The Celine edges out the Lister in a straight line, but good on the brakes there. Oh well, too good actually. Not good enough. Was the Lister of Nathan Lockie. And
Rip that Lister.
Yeah, but still, he's got so much grit. Challenges again, but still not close enough. But yeah, what can Yusuf Massett do this time? Because he's had 2 great opportunities that he's wasted. What about this time around? Philip Pickler will be feeling like he's got a pack of sharks on his tail here. Incidentally, the gap for the lead has come out now to 1.5 seconds, so that's coming out a bit. Oh, as Lockie runs very wide there, and it already starts losing time to Massett, who's going to get him in the S's possibly. Yes, there he goes. Now, I said it was fantastic in the S's, and indeed, Massett there didn't need to be asked twice and went through into 5th position. Lockie takes a look, but this still the Viper territory. And Yusuf Massett rather back through into 5th place. Now you can start thinking about attacking Philip Pickler ahead. Needs to be careful though, because coming up soon is a corner where Nathan Lockie has proven he's so much stronger than Massett. Literally drove circles around the car as he went right around the outside. He's still obviously very, very fast through that corner. Dipping wheels onto the grass are both Pickler and Massett there. They're approaching a back marker too. That's Rob Milliken in the Lamborghini there. Milliken currently the last remaining runner. And I won't expect Milliken to get in their way much. However, that's not a great place to do it. Needs to back off now. Oh no! Oh, he's touched him. No, actually, I said I didn't expect him to get in his way. Unfortunately, he really has done. He's touched him, and through now is going to go Massett, Yusuf Massett to the inside of Philip Pickler. Pickler just tries to defend it, but he's going off. Indeed, there through goes Philip Massett, and through as well goes Nathan Lockie. And that was a really bad bit of driving from Rob Milliken. And I said he wasn't going to get in the way. Unfortunately, he very much did. And that's really effective. Philip Pickler. Pickler has just lost 2 places as a result of that. They may well be having strong words with Rob Milliken after this race. In 23 minutes' time, Massett there made a mistake, ran over the curb a bit too heavily, and Lockie is showing the supreme grip of that Lister. He passed him once. Can he do it again? The order of this fight has now completely reversed in the last lap or two.
Awesome race by Yusuf Massett right there.
An awesome race between all of these guys, in fact, but Massett's on the grass. Although he doesn't lose out too much to Lockie. Massett's just so powerful up the hill. He must have so much torque in that Viper. But as they go up the hill at the start of the lap through the S's, he just absolutely blasts all of his opponents. Through the final sector they go. This is where Nathan Lockie is stronger, but we're about to get really very much into Viper territory. That's now. The first sector very much in the hands of Yusuf Massett, but can he pull away enough? Incidentally, Davide Ricciardi is on the back of Phil Brown, and he might well go for a move here towards the bus stop. He's going to, yes, he pulls out of the slipstream, but he has to back out of it. He's too far back, but he's forced Brown into a mistake, has he? Brown was going very, very hot into the chicane, somehow controls it, and keeps the 2nd position there. But Davide Ricciardi was challenging him hard, and this is allowing John Van der Geest to get away into the distance. And at the same time, Nathan Lockie is right with Yusuf Massett. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a move between any of these battles on this lap. 2nd and 3rd are at it. 4th and 5th are at it. What can Ricciardi do in a straight line? Not enough. Into the braking zone they go. This is a great race. I wasn't expecting this much from Watkins Glen, actually. It's a difficult course to overtake at, but my word, has it delivered today. Into the final sector they go, slightly wide. Slightly wide goes Phil Brown, rather. This is where... Oh, Ricciardi! Big slide in the final corner. He had to back out of that, and he's lost time to Phil Brown. That was a mistake there for Ricciardi. Into the pits, meanwhile, comes your own Remmers. So, Remmers 2 stopping. And losing a lot of time as a result, I'm afraid. That doesn't appear to have worked for him. At the end of that lap as well, Massett still hasn't been passed by Lockie.
Lockie actually 0.2 seconds lower than Massett on that lap.
Yeah, definitely.
Got that Viper up the hill. God.
So much torque in that Viper, you can hear it in the engine. I believe that Viper has the only V10 engine on the grid, if I remember correctly. Yes, yeah, indeed, the Viper does have the only V10 rather engine on the grid, and it seems to just have the torque up the hill. It has that real pushing force, and can just sprint away from its opponents up there, but it struggles in the second sector. That's where Lockie drove right around the outside of Massett a couple of laps ago. Less than 20 minutes remaining in this race, and it's still Van der Geest leading from Brown, Ricciardi, Massett, Lockie, Pickler, Carvalho, Finotti, Londes, Usel, Rodriguez, Ashenko, Bodska, Kruger, and then Remmers and Milliken. So now that I look at it, is Milliken ahead of Remmers? No, he isn't, never mind. Fabio Ricciardi separated from Phil Brown by just over half a second there. Looking at the YouTube stream as well, the SimRacingOnline channel. I take it that was you, Matthias. Says Dennis will be remembered for sure. Indeed, yeah. Dennis has provided us with a fantastic race here.
Very entertaining.
What's that?
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining. Yeah, great for us viewers. Says Tony Talviti. Get a good finish for this one. I'm sure he will. P1 P2 gap was down to 0.4, but well, it's now it's over 4 seconds. So actually, Van der Geest has a decent margin here. What a race this is!
Here's stuff. I told Van der Geest to like take a week after the race. Yeah, a week before the race actually. I told Van der Geest to be on his top game because he can get the championship lead in Watkins Glen, and he's showing results.
Certainly is, yeah. In fact, at this rate, Van der Geest will gain 40 points, and that means that Finotti's going to be gaining far fewer, I'm afraid, after his incident earlier on. And looking at the points as well, third place would give Ricciardi 33 points, meaning Ricciardi would lead the championship, but not by much. Van der Geest would be just 3 points off him, but it'd be very close, and that's why Ricciardi needs to push and pass Phil Brown here, because Brown is not in contention for this championship. In fact, Brown hasn't driven any races yet this season, and that means that Ricciardi needs to get past him to pull some points back. In fact, of course, Phil Brown has only driven one event with SimRacingOnline before, and that was part of the Mazda Cup UK, the Mazda MX-5 Cup UK recently. He drove the round at the Silverstone National Circuit, I believe. Yeah, he did. And actually only finished 15th in that one, but I get the picture that there was some story behind that because he had a very quick qualifying time. I qualified 6th.
Those MX-5s are awesome to drive. Very, very, very nimble cars.
Yeah, very much so. Mazda designs a great track cut.
And you can brake so late with those cars. Incredible.
Quite scary sometimes, actually. Oh, look at oh, never mind. Ignore me. I'm looking at the wrong thing. That was just Massa and Lockie there, passing Kruger, who's a lap down.
Pinot and Carvalho there. Close each other.
Oh yeah, Finotti catching Carvalho. Finotti, of course, on a recovery drive here after his incident earlier on in the race with John van der Geest. You have to remember, Van der Geest has not driven a completely incident-free race. In fact, no driver in this grid has driven a completely incident-free race. And I do still wonder what happened between these two. I suppose we'll never know. But Finotti on his recovery drive is right on the back of Ricardo Carvalho now. He's been lapping significantly quicker on average. And now starts to catch him, but again, we're into Viper territory.
Oh yeah, Finotti's 0.2 seconds faster than Carvalho.
Carvalho, yeah, but Carvalho just had a big lock-up. And Finotti might well be on him. However, up the hill, watch the Viper. There he goes. 1 car length. 2 car lengths. Not quite, but anyway, he definitely got away. And now the Celine benefits again with the slipstream and goes to the outside. Neither of them want to back off, but someone has to. And Carvalho keeps the place for now as Finotti takes an uncomfortable ride over the curbs and loses time. So
and
that's it.
Braun ENF'd, disconnected. Oh no!
Oh, Phil Brown! Phil Brown! Yes, he was running second. Now he's not here. My word, Phil Brown, who had driven a fantastic race so far. What a shame. Completed the first sector and vanished. That's a disaster there for Phil Brown in the Ferrari. He hadn't driven any races yet this season, but came here today and started wowing us with his pace. Qualified second. He was running second in the race, and now unfortunately he is out of the race, and that seems to have been a disconnection issue, a connection issue, or a disconnection issue, whichever way you put it means the same thing. Remember, he also had he actually also had the second fastest lap of the race so far, only a couple of hundredths of a second behind Davide Ricciardi, who currently holds the fastest lap.
Now Ricciardi is just closing the gap really fast with Van der Geest now, just to point out.
I don't think he is. His last lap was actually slower than Van der Geest there. But anyway, oh, but Van der Geest did make a big mistake in the first sector. You're right, he just lost 7 tenths in that first sector there.
Yeah, that's
he must have just made a mistake though. I don't think that he's actually losing pace on average to Ricciardi.
And Ricciardi was 5 seconds in the start-finish line away from Van der Geest. Now he's 4.4 now. That's
yeah, that was just due to Van der Geest's poor first sector there. But yeah, whatever the case, that puts Ricciardi up to second and puts the championship back down. Well, it increases
point difference.
Yeah, well, decreases the. Oh yeah, increases point difference. You're right. So that means that Ricciardi, I think, is going to claim 36 points for this race, meaning that there's going to be 6 points between Van der Geest and Ricciardi at the end of this round, with Ricciardi still leading this championship. But Van der Geest will definitely gain some points on him if they finish in this order.
Finazzi, Becker Carvalho, not giving up yet.
And he can't give up as well. That's for 6th position there. After Brown's disconnection, Ricciardi's in 2nd, Massett's in 3rd, then it's Lockie and Pickler 4th and 5th. With this battle here, Carvalho and Finotti just outside in 6th and 7th, hoping to get in on that top 5 action, but not much time left for it to happen. Wow, Finotti got very close to the back of Carvalho there, startled himself, had to take an awkward line through the corner, and now look behind him. That's not Canusel, that's actually a lapped car. That's who's that? It's not a lap. Oh, it is. Okay, I'll find out. It's your own Remmers. Okay, so your own Remmers who went on that two-stop strategy is now behind them, and Finotti went defensive there because it would have really complicated things if Remmers had got between them. But still Finotti challenges Carvalho through the bus stop chicane. It's a little bit too far back at the minute. Matthias, we believe you have some. We believe you have a message about donations and interviews.
Oh yeah. As you guys know, we fund the SimRacingOnline with donations and private funds, and we'd love to you get our November go to 100%, so we can do more race series, rent more servers, do more free races for you guys. And the donation button is on the homepage of SimRacingOnline on the top, right below your little picture and your information there.
Yeah, definitely. That would definitely help us out, and we very much hope that you're enjoying this stream today. And if you're enjoying it enough, maybe maybe go and give us a hand so that we can keep doing this. But anyway, back to the race at the minute. Pablo Finotti still challenging Ricardo Carvalho. In fact, in the YouTube chat, even Toth says, "What's the name of the driver in sick?" That is Ricardo Carvalho. Oh, Can You Souls had an off. Just caught that in on the YouTube stream there. I believe Matthias may have seen it happening, but I couldn't quite catch it. Did you see what happened there?
I think he just gone a little bit too wide, catch some those curbs there, and on his car around. Londas got the 8th position. Finotti got the 6th. Look at that battle.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Finotti has got actually no, he's not got up to 6th. He's very close to Carvalho. He's not quite through to 6th just yet. Also, welcome into Even Toth. He says he's new here. Look at Finotti now, attempting around the outside of Ricardo Carvalho. And look at that grit. That was great there from Finotti, who gets now up into 6th position and covers it off up the hill. There we go. Finotti 6th, Carvalho 7th. And the car behind them, that Lamborghini, that charging Lamborghini, is your own Remmers, who is on a two-stop strategy. Watch the Viper coming back into this contact. Ooh. Oh my word! Carvalho just turned right over, and he's been clipped, in fact, by Remmers and all of that. Yeah, Ricardo Carvalho there just turned right over on Finotti. He thought he was a lot further ahead than he actually was, and there must have been a blind spot involved there. But whatever the case, Carvalho and Finotti have collided.
Look at that, Remmers spun.
And yeah, your own Remmer there spun at the top of the hill. Now, was that as a result of damage caused by tagging Ricardo Carvalho? Maybe I'm not entirely sure.
I believe he did not tag anyone. I didn't quite see here because of the camera angle, but
no, I'm pretty sure he did tag Ricardo Carvalho. I saw it happen. So there was contact between the two of them, but I don't know if I don't think it would have caused enough damage to spin Remmers at the next corner. But anyway,
7 minutes remaining.
Just 7 minutes remaining in this race, and still the drama continues to attract attention. Carvalho and Finotti still very close together on the road. Finotti has got away ahead of Ricardo after all of that. Carvalho rather. Who is Ricardo? Yeah, what am I saying? So yeah, Finotti has got away ahead of Carvalho.
Yeah, Ricciardi. Get the gap. He closed the gap.
Oh,
now 1.8
he really
seconds.
did. No, I tell you what. I did say that it was a one-off bad sector from Van der Geest. It hasn't been, because looking at the times now, Van der Geest just had a really slow last lap. I'm wondering here whether Van der Geest is really struggling. And again, Ricciardi takes a whole chunk of time out of him on that lap there. Oh, three tenths there. So Ricciardi really gaining on Van der Geest. The gap is down to less than 2 seconds now. And could we have a late race for the lead here? towards the end. Ricciardi is fired up after losing the lead in that battle with Denis Assenko earlier on. Assenko, who was not on the same strategy as these guys. And now, maybe just catching back up with John van der Geest again. He's been released from his battle with Brown, as Brown's disconnected. And now catching again. This has been a fantastic race so far, completely unpredictable, up and down and all over the place, and you haven't been able to see anything coming. Meanwhile, Jeroen Remmers is trying to unlap himself from Laurent Lons, so this two-stop strategy really hasn't worked for him. He's getting stuck behind so many people, and he was the only driver on a two-stop strategy. I thought he would be. This track should be treated very much like Monaco, but for a very different reason. It's because rather than being very tight, this track is very fast, and that means that it's very easy to get stuck behind people due to there not really being any overtaking opportunities on this lap, unless the other car you're fighting is really struggling or makes a mistake.
And the curbs on this track are so deadly.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like Monaco.
Another 3/10 have been taken out of John van der Geest. Ricciardi is catching and homing in like a hawk. And this isn't just the battle for the lead of the race. This is the battle between the two provisional championship leaders. Now that Finotti has been involved in an incident, so van der Geest and Ricciardi are fighting, and this is significant, very significant. They're right together now. I wasn't expecting to see that a couple of laps ago.
From each other.
In fact, Ricciardi took a whole 3/10 out of van der Geest in just the first sector alone there. That's the amount he's been taking out of him per lap. Goodness me, so Ricciardi is smelling blood and he's going for it. Oh, loses 2/10 in the second sector though, so he's a net worth of a 10th up.
Looks like he's getting a lot of understeer on that corner.
Yeah, that's probably as a result of the tyres going off, and that might well be what's wrong with John van der Geest at this point in time.
Have a look on John van der Geest's car. For that, very, very slow.
Yeah, so a battle of cars struggling with tyres here. John van der Geest and Davide Ricciardi.
They are approaching traffic right now.
And they are. Who's that? That's a Lamborghini, I believe. Who is a lap down.
That's Rob Milliken.
It is. It's Rob Milliken. Now remember Milliken.
Big slide.
He spun. Yeah, Milliken has a half spin. Well, that's one way of getting out of the way of the leaders. The leaders, incidentally, now separated by less than a second. Goodness me. Davide Ricciardi was a whole half a second quicker than van der Geest on that last lap alone. He pulled out 3/10 in the final sector. Now Ricciardi can really start to challenge. We've got 2 minutes and 12 seconds before the timer ticks to 0. Not long for Ricciardi to pull a move, and van der Geest will need to defend for his life at this point in the race. An extremely tense climax to this event. And it's John van der Geest from Davide Ricciardi. Driver we haven't spoke about much since his recent battle with Lockie is Youssef Massa, who is still running very nicely in third position.
Look at that, Ricciardi just dropped 3 seconds in that corner alone.
I think you mean 3/10 of a second,
Yeah,
he did.
3/10 of a second, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So they're both struggling. And yeah, Ricciardi did seem to drop a little bit of time in that sector there. We'll see how far behind he is at the end of this lap. We often see that when a car gets close to another one, it suddenly stops catching, as that's just how hard it is to follow.
Guess that's the last lap.
across the line. They're separated by just a second. Their last laps were virtually identical.
Yeah.
And that means that John van der Geest goes into the final lap just a second ahead of Ricciardi. Ricciardi has to act now. This is a place where the Lamborghini's strong, down this straight. But he's too far back. Needs to stick with him though. Needs to stick with him until the next straight. Possibly the one between the toe and the heel. Turn 7 and 8. That could be an opportunity. Oh, big slide for Ricciardi, and that might be game over there. It was a very little incident, very little mistake, but that could be all it takes to remove the momentum from Ricciardi, to take the wind out of his sails, and John van der Geest will be revelling. The checkered flag is poised now. The timer is at 0. Ricciardi took 2 tenths out of van der Geest in the first sector. He lost 3 tenths in the second. He's not close enough. And that might well be it, unless van der Geest makes a big error in the final sector of the course. Oh, the bigger error from Ricciardi. Ricciardi's lost it. Ricciardi had a half spin, and that is definitely game over now. John van der Geest has won this race. He's got 2 corners to go. Just keep it together, John. And John van der Geest comes around the final corner in the Lister. He's really had to work on it. He only qualified 3rd, not on the front row, but he really had to fight his way through, and now he wins. Fantastic. John van der Geest is our 3rd different winner in as many races. Davide Ricciardi finishes 2nd. 3rd place is going to be Yusuf Mashet. The gap between the leaders was 8.649 in the end after that little mistake from Ricciardi. Yusuf Mashet is 3rd place. There he goes. Great performance from him. Nathan Lockie is 4th. 5th place is going to be Philip Pickler. I've got to say, driver of the day there has to be John van der Geest for just keeping it cool at the end there. Philip Pickler is 5th rather.
Pablo Finati 6th.
Yeah, 6th place going the way of Pablo Finati, who came into today as joint championship leader, but has lost out today after an incident with John van der Geest. So what could have been for Pablo Finati, we don't know. He may well have won this race if that incident hadn't happened. There's no way of telling. Ricardo Carvalho is 7th. Laurent Blondes is 8th. Can Ucel is going to be 9th position. And 10th is the very popular / unpopular Russian driver Denis Yashenko, who really shook up this race for us earlier on. Fantastic race from him. Can Ucel finishes 9th. Yashenko is 10th. Incidentally finished on the lead lap there. Great to see. Oh, now he spins straight into the back of Ucel after the finish line. 11th place is going to be Nuno Rodriguez. There he goes across the line. So Rodriguez is 11th. 12th was Flavio Bosca, who finished a lap down. 13th was Daryl Kruger. 14th was Jeroen Remmers. 15th was Rob Milliken. And then we had 3 retirements. Phil Brown, who really could have challenged for the win here. Steph Williams and Eric Klein, who we lost very early on. And I'm afraid that's it for the day, but what an unbelievable race that was. Fantastic. Not boring through any of it. It was a great race. And one that went the way of John van der Geest. However, 2nd place went the way of Davide Ricciardi, who still leads this championship, but by just 6 points. 2 final rounds of the championship going up. Join us in 2 weeks' time for the round at Road Atlanta. Join us at the same time. The stream will start at about 8 PM GMT. And then the final round will be 2 weeks after that at Sebring. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. Tony Taviti is complimenting my commentary. Thanks, Tony. Hopefully we see you racing next time out as well. I've been your commentator, Joshua Penny. I really enjoyed this round. I'd like to also thank Matheus Marçal for streaming this and using the cameras. So well done, Matheus.
in
Hello.
the house.
That's John.
And
It's
as
John
you can
from
hear,
West.
yeah, we can hear a
That's a happy
very
John.
excited. Yeah, very excited John van der Geest, and quite rightfully so, because John has come out at the top of that battle. Fantastic, John. Well done.
I'm telling you, I never expected that. Because did you see that Pablo Finotti hit the guardrail in front of me, and then I collected him?
We saw that there was an incident. We didn't see it live. Can you talk us through what happened there?
Yeah. So after the chicane, you have the very quick fourth gear right-hander, like a carousel. And Pablo, I was right on his bumper, just 2-3 meters away, and then he went too wide into that corner, and on the exit he hit the guardrail, and immediately pirouetted in front of me, and I had no room to avoid him. So I hit him, and we both were sitting at the edge of the road, at the edge of the track, and he pulled away quite quickly, like after 5 seconds, and I had to wait for traffic like 10 or 15 seconds. So the reason that I am excited is that I still won the race, because the car felt a little bit wobbly, and I never expected after my pit stop to be so close behind Davide and to even overtake those two guys. Did you see that battle going through the S's in Sector 1, where
Yes,
we were
absolutely.
3 wide?
Talk to us about Denis Sashenko there.
That was insane, man.
Yeah.
Denis Sashenko surely will be remembered.
Accident. Well, that didn't end in an accident. That was
I think-
superb driving from from those two guys.
I think you'll probably have to pay Denis Sashenko for that one.
He did. Well, that is a very quick guy. I don't know his tire situation, but probably he was just before his pit stop, so his tires
Yes, he was.
were already gone, and I think Davide and me were both on fresh tires, so he was at a disadvantage there. But he did a very good job for me, yes indeed, and also for the championship standings.
Yeah, very exciting, especially at the end of the race there as Ricciardi came back into play. You must have watched him in your mirrors like a rabbit in the headlights.
Man, I was glued to that rear view mirror. Did you see me making that mistake just before the last corner? So I was
think
4
we may have
seconds. Yeah, oh, you missed that. So I was 4.5 seconds in front of him, and then on the approach to the final corner, I was a little bit too eager on the throttle on the curb on the right side, so heading over to the left side to set up the car for the corner. So I spun and I hit the wall with my nose, and that took 2 seconds off my lead. So then I really had to push it. But luckily, on the last lap in Sector 3, I saw him also making a small mistake, putting the power on too strong on the exit. So he spun, and that left me with a clear track for the last 3 corners, and then I knew I had it. Only then. Because that is a fast guy.
A great
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
Man, I'm so amazed that I won it after that spin with Pablo. I'm puzzled. It's a mystery. Well,
You sound so happy about that, and rightfully so. You really had to fight for it. Didn't
Man,
expect this
yeah.
going into today. You know, is Watkins Glen a track that you tend to go well at?
well, I did a lot of multi-class races there in prototypes, so and also in GT cars. So I know the track very well, and I did a lot of Watkins Glen on iRacing. So I knew how to set up the car and how to take the corners. You have secret lines around some corners, you know, and you have secret gearing, how you take that corner, and I knew all about that, so that helped me.
Stuff. We are
Very, very
we
good.
are really happy for you, man.
Thank
Deserve that
you.
one. I told you
But-
weeks prior to the race you could have the win.
Don't you think, as the series host, I should at least win one race?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that was a very exciting and good fun. I enjoyed it very much, and getting a win is also a pretty bonus. So, there you are. I told Davide to come up here as well, but I guess he didn't see the message. Then we could fight it out right here.
Well, anyway, at the end of all of that, I believe that is the end of our broadcast there. So, well done again for your win there, John, and we'll see you next time as well at Road Atlanta.
I'm on a roll now, boys. Watch out.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll see you then. I'm sure you'll
okay.
really
Thanks for the broadcast. Bye bye.
Welcome. Bye bye.
See ya.
Thanks for joining, everyone. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Yeah.
Yeah. See you
Bye-bye.
then.